say something dumb.
You're not going to pull a Roy Firestone on me and make me cry, are you?
Nope.
If I do, you edit that out.
Okay, I got it.
I mean, it's coaching in cars, man.
A lot of limiting beliefs out there, thinking, how in the world am I going to accomplish something like that?
Not dissimilar to anybody.
The greatest risk we were afraid of that did not come to fruition is...
If I started a new business tomorrow, the first thing I would do is hire a coach.
All right, so welcome back to Coaching in Cars. I have my friend Robert Sullivan with me today, and I'm not going to do what I always do, which is I introduce you and then you have nothing to say. So I'm going to kick it over to you. Who are you? What do you do? And why is your face so noticeable in Greenville, South Carolina?
Is it? Well, I'm Robert Sullivan, as you said. I go by Sully. It's just always my nickname with the last name of Sullivan. Sully is a common nickname, and so whatever sports or school I was at, I eventually was called Sully. And I own Sully Steamers, which has been around for almost 13 years now. And it's been a real blessing to my family and to myself. Sometimes it doesn't feel like such a blessing, and anybody that's built a business knows that. We go through our ups and downs, but overall it's truly been one of the biggest blessings of my life. And as I look at it, it's been really kind of a story of Greenville too, and what Greenville has meant to our life, what the community of Greenville has meant. It's kind of all intertwined.
Yeah, and I know 2013 is when you started it.
Right. And
one location. Mm-hmm. And while we were walking to the car, you told me you've got basically 16 right now.
We call it 18 units total. Yeah.
But 16 like full-on brick and mortar style, and then you've got 2 that are a little, I would call maybe off the beaten path.
Satellite stores.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the Greenville Airport.
Correct.
And now
the dining hall at Clemson, we're in there as well.
Which is super cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
Yeah, everybody's got to eat, especially college kids, right?
That's a good market for us. It's really our number one demographic. We love it if we can do late night, and that's one of the things that makes this such a good concept is the ability to do breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night. So moving forward, we're really going to be looking for that.
Yeah, it's like the Taco Bell fourth meal.
Exactly.
It's a great marketing demographic that they got there.
We have really kind of pioneered that. The only thing that I was aware of in Greenville that did late night before we did was what is that? It's a pizza place. Bertolo's, Bertolo's Pizza, and they just had a window, and I don't think they went till 3 a.m. But they had a window that they served pizza out of, and I just knew that where we were located, that we would have an opportunity to do that, and it's really become one of the things that defines us. So it's fun and pretty challenging as well.
Yeah.
Right now in Clemson, we've got somebody that thinks it's fun to punch a hole in the bathroom wall every late night. So we have multiple holes, and not much you can do in a bathroom. So
you need to steel stud that thing.
That's
Start
the
breaking
plan.
Some hands.
Yeah, that's the plan.
So you and I both know Chris. Chris is the one who kind of connected us. We met at an event.
Never heard of him. Everybody knows Chris.
And yeah, right. But I always wonder, like, does everybody know Chris though? Like, everybody knows Chris in the face and how like fun and jolly he is, but like, who does he? I just think capacity wise, there's no way he knows everybody, but he does. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he's a great connector too. He loves doing that, and I admire people like that just sit around thinking. I have several friends like that. I think of my friend Ed Stein too. Just people that sit around thinking, gosh, how can I improve this person's life by connecting them with this person?
Yeah.
I really admire that.
So you have an awesome story. Arguably one of the better stories that I've heard, for sure, in the food franchise model. But I love it, and I want to give you the opportunity to tell it. So some very basic facts about it. But ultimately, Sully Steamers, yes, it's in Greenville, but you didn't live in Greenville before you started Sully's.
Correct.
So tell me about that story, about how'd you make it here and the family dynamic behind that.
Okay, I can get a little wordy with this, so please interrupt if I'm going on too long. But it is a long story, and I think back on it, and I just can't believe, God's hand in all of this, and it's very, very clear to me right now that that's what it is, and I trust that we're still in God's hands too. But really, let me start way back in college. I went to school up in Ohio, and there was a place that steamed sandwiches, and I fell in love with it. I'm a simple man. My mom, who's no longer with us, she was a great cook. And she made the greatest sandwiches. And my sisters always accused me of just being a brown noser, because I would always get my mom to make me sandwiches by just telling her, Mom, nobody makes sandwiches like you. But it was true. I mean, I would try, but she just made it better.
Yeah.
And so I'm a simple man. But I think I have good taste in the simple things that I like. And I love sandwiches. And as soon as I tasted this steam sandwich, I'd never had a steam sandwich before, I fell in love. I thought it was just mind-blowing. And so, fast forward to several years later, and I'm married now to my wife Jill, who I met at school. She knew of my love of those sandwiches, and at the time I was trading stocks for a living. So I had just a quick background for me. So my first job out of college was pharmaceutical sales. Did well with that, but really decided that the entrepreneurial life was going to be the life I chose. And I tell people all the time, I don't think I'm employable. It's not that I don't look down on anybody that's in corporate world or whatever. I think it's great. I wish my wife is with the same company that I was with. She's been with them for 30 years, and God bless her. She's phenomenal at what she does, and I admire her, and many times I think, man, this would have been an easier path for sure. But I'm just not employable. There's certain people that need to be an entrepreneur, and so I quit that job and I became a trader, a stock trader for myself. So for lack of a better term, I was a day trader. And I did it in a group in downtown Atlanta for a while. Everybody that I was trading with ended up going out of business, and so I started trading out of my home. I was still doing pretty well with it. And when you're working from home, that was not really what I ever had in mind. And I remember complaining to my wife that I was tired of eating the same old things all the time. So for Christmas one year, she bought me a commercial steamer, just remembering how much I love these sandwiches. She's like, here, make yourself those sandwiches you like.
What a great wife.
She's the best.
Yeah.
She really is an incredible person. That is so out of character for her, though. We're very frugal people, she more so than I. And that was the most expensive thing she'd ever gotten me. But what a brilliant gift. And so it's not like when she bought that, I thought, oh, I'm going to open a steam bagel sandwich franchise. And not at all. But I was loving making these sandwiches. And I was focusing on bagels and just, making a lot of the things that I remembered from this place up in Ohio. And I even have a great dear friend of mine, my best friend, who he did his version of a steam sandwich place way out in Idaho.
Okay.
And that was an inspiration to me further on down. But I never wanted to open a restaurant. I'm not a restaurant person. I don't come from that world. So you hear the rumors about it, and if you ever say anything about getting into the restaurant world, people pretty much tell you don't do it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't at the top of my mind, but I enjoyed making these sandwiches, and people would come over when we still lived in Atlanta, and I just enjoyed sharing it. So I'd make them sandwiches and be like, hey, you gotta try this. And everybody said the same thing. Oh, this is incredible. You need to do this for a living. And I really didn't take it seriously. But one day I can remember just Atlanta started to wear on me. Just the traffic, and really looking back, it was the lack of community. When you're in Atlanta, you're in a subdivision, and when you get out of the subdivision, you're just in the rat race.
Yep.
And I had dropped my daughter off at daycare one day, came back home to work, and I had like 2 acts of road rage against me. And I didn't even do anything. And I remember telling my wife that day, I said, we're moving, we're getting out of here.
That's awesome.
And she said, why? And God bless her, one of the great things about Jill is she's always content wherever we are. And that's good because I'm never content. So she's a phenomenal anchor for me. And so she really wasn't on board, but she always kind of, is supportive of anything that I have going on. And so I started looking around and made trips across the Southeast, wanted to stay in the Southeast, checked out a bunch of other cities. I won't go through them all, but nothing felt quite right. And I was getting a little frustrated as the process was going. I was not going to be deterred from moving, but I was getting a little frustrated. So I went to this website called findyourspot.com, and I put in my family's characteristics, and it said Greenville, South Carolina. And this is 20 years ago, probably over 20 years ago. And I did not think anything of it because all I knew was the sign on 85 that says Greenville, and I had not heard anything else. And so this is before your phones had maps on them and stuff. I came on a beautiful Saturday, and I literally had a paper map, and I thought I'll start at the city center, whatever that is. There wasn't like Greenville Main Street, that wasn't a thing. And it shot me out right by the Peace Center. And I parked and started walking down the street. I saw the pedestrian bridge and at the waterfall. I didn't know anything about that, and just started walking up the street. And there was a bride and groom coming down on a horse-drawn carriage and coming down the road, and everybody on the street got up and gave them a standing ovation. People that were eating and whatnot. And I was like, this is it. This is where we're going. So went back home, told my wife, my parents, my 2 sisters. I said, hey, we're gonna move to Greenville, South Carolina, and sure would be great if you guys would look at this too. And I think pretty much everybody said we're in. Pretty much right away. I think everybody on their own time took a trip. I know that, but I think they pretty much said, yeah, we're in, and then did the trip. And funny enough that everybody got there before we did. So we were the last ones here.
Nice.
But we all moved within 6 months. And that was the biggest life-changing thing ever for all of us. And I completely think that was just an act of God. I am not really that impulsive at all, but to know for sure that we needed to get out of Atlanta, and to know for sure that Greenville was the place. I don't know what else that is. It's very, very crystal clear to me. And so I'm eternally grateful for that.
Well, and look you just think about all the moments that happen leading up to what you've created. You get the steamer from your wife, and then she's supportive of you guys moving, and then the whole family, just the whole circumstance. Those are not chance things that happen. Those are real things that are orchestrated, and God has his hand in those things. And it's just super cool when you look back, because you don't know when you're in it. You don't know what is going on here. You're just kind of operating based on impulse. And then it's pretty cool. So we're about to, I do want to stop for a second. We're about to drive by the OG store, right?
Main and Washington Street.
And luckily there's a quick little parking spot right out front. So I want to know, what memories come to mind when you see this store and you think about your journey here over the last 13, 14 years?
So many. When we were first here, I was Mr. Greenville. I would get the paper on Thursday and then map out everything we were going to do downtown for my young family at the time. On Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, and we'd come down here all the time, and we just did everything that we could. But when it was time to eat, we always struggled. It was fine dining that I didn't think was all that great, and then pretty crappy pizza, and that was about it. And that's really what put this on the map. Is I felt like there was such a need, and so I cannot say it was a simple decision to come up with this location. But man, it's been a blessing. It really has. Where it is, it's been perfect. I feel like for years it was the center of Greenville, And now I think this shifted a little bit towards the river, probably rightfully so, but it's still a great location and just tons of phenomenal memories here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was in that building before?
Nothing. I mean, again, I look back, and you don't always know God's hand is with you at all times, but I look back on it, and it just is so clear. The Sticky Fingers had a right of first refusal, so this was just dirt. It had sat there unoccupied in the center of Greenville for 10 years, just waiting for us. And remember the place Luna Rosa? They had I'm just remembering this now. When I first moved to Greenville, I sort of kicked around the idea of doing this and put in a letter of intent. Just kind of threw it in there, and I got beat out by Luna Rosa, who ended up not doing it and going across the street.
Yeah, I was going to say they're right across.
Yeah, they ended up going there, and I then moved into other things and whatnot, and so it just sat there again for a couple of years. And when I started getting serious about it again, I inquired about it, and the landlord, God bless him, he was a good guy. And this was back when landlords were in town, and it wasn't some nameless, faceless entity like we have now. And he was doing the right thing, and he said, "No, I'm not going to lease this to you. That's a stupid idea." And I fought back with him, and I said, "No, here's what it is. I had a good business plan." He's like, "Well, this is a good business plan, but that's a stupid idea. I'm not going to let you just get in there and go out of business." And I said, "Why don't you come over to my house, and I'm going to make you some sandwiches." So great. He came over to my little house right close to downtown, and I had my kids there. They were small at the time, and they're crawling all over. And this guy's some prim and proper guy in a suit, and I make him a few sandwiches and cut them in half, and he takes a few bites, and he goes, "I get it." He's like, "I think you're going to kill it." And what a boost of confidence that was. Yeah. And that guy became a great customer and huge supporter. That was several landlords ago, but what a great thing. And so that's kind of the way it was. It's just when you got a completely new concept. Sully's is not just a different concept. It's a unique and unusual concept that it's a blessing and a curse. We called it Sully's Steamers. I didn't call it Sully's Bagels because, yes, the sandwiches are on bagels, but we're not a bagel shop. This is about sandwiches. Believe me, if I could have called it Sully's Sandwiches, I would have called it Sully's Sandwiches. That was not available. I couldn't have done that, unfortunately. The fact that it's Sully's Steamers, nobody knows what the hell it is, and that's true. Always been a obstacle for us. And I think as we continue to grow and brand awareness gets bigger and bigger, I hope that we become a steamer is in people's vocabulary. Yeah. It's a steamed bagel sandwich from Sully's. That's what I want it to be.
Yeah, it's so funny. The tagline is in my head of the sandwich closed the deal. Like on the landlord. Like I love that. Just like the sandwich closed the deal. So the next time you're trying to close a business deal, you gotta take whoever you're closing it to Sully Steamers, and the sandwich will close the deal.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Ooh,
but what a cool story. I mean, just the fact that it was dirt is mind-blowing to me because when you drive through there, that really is the heart of the city. Is right in those couple blocks right there. The fact that I moved here 2 years ago, so that has always been the way that it's been in my head, and I know it wasn't like that at one point, but just 13 years ago, the fact that was dirt is just wild to me.
I know. It really is. I mean, for 10 years it sat there, and just kind of waiting for us. And it's been a phenomenal location for sure. Back to the story. So when we moved to Greenville, I kind of gave you some of this, but I still didn't do this. It just really was. It was a process, and honestly, I didn't want to do it. I checked out. I eventually grew tired of trading stocks. It's too solitary for me. I'm not a guy that wants to sit in front of computers and not be around people, for sure. But I also didn't want to do restaurants. So I did a lot of different things. I dabbled in a million different things. I looked at every franchise under the sun, and then I switched. I thought, well, I think I'm too independent to do a franchise. I looked at buying businesses.
Yep.
God came into that as well in a way that I wasn't too happy about at the time. I cannot tell you, you don't have time on this podcast for me to tell you all the situations where doors were closed,
Yep.
and sometimes in ways that were crushing and brutal. I'll tell you one. Before we even moved here, I wanted to have an established business in hand. I didn't want to keep trading, and I tried to buy a portable X-ray machine company.
Oh, interesting.
And the person I was buying it from, we went back and forth a bunch of times. It was in my hands, the contract to purchase this, and he was just waiting for me, and I don't know what was keeping me from doing it. I called him back one last time to have one final question answered, and he said, well, forget about it. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, as you were waiting around, this business got struck by lightning, and I lost everything. I said, what? He said, yeah. I said, what about your insurance? He said, I let it lapse. I thought you were going to buy this thing. I'm sorry, but I mean, that's terrible. Wow. I mean, it was a great business, and I think it would have been great. There was things like that had probably about 4 or 5 things literally struck by lightning.
Gosh.
So it was a process, and but I continued to just have, good friends and people that I trust say, why don't you do this? And then, I let a business plan speak for itself, and it really did make sense. And at the end of the day, it's really, a family decision, and that means my wife, and she's not entrepreneurial, but she is my number one, consigliere consultant. She is my guide in every way.
Yeah, she's the filter. She's the discerner.
She is.
Yeah.
And she was really advocating for it and said, you're going to love doing this. She said, you love being downtown. You love being a part of this community. By this time, we had established ourselves. And I mentioned to you before we started filming that I became part of a running group that, I didn't even know you could run with other men. I didn't even know that was an option. And we ended up, this running group, we would run with 20, 30 guys, and became my core group of friends, and so much support from that as well. I had people, one of my great friends, Josh Lane, him and his partner Matt Farabee, they own a phenomenal marketing company, Farabee Lane, and they did my marketing for free. They knew I couldn't handle that kind of thing, and they were like, oh, we want to help you out here. Just unbelievable stuff. One of my best friends, Ray Forrell, he owns a construction company. They build multi-million-dollar homes on the lake, and he built out my first shop. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Never done anything like that before. Yeah. He's asking me questions, and I'm like, Ray, I don't know. You just handle this.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I got it.
There are so many. It's amazing. If you're just a good person and you do the right thing and you build good relationships with people, it is really amazing what comes back to you for free, or what comes back to you in the way of equity in a way. Yeah. The relationships that I have built here, I really have, I would say maybe 10 to 15 good friends that I message and talk to on a weekly basis. But the opportunities and the people that have been brought into my life from those 10 to 15 relationships is just exponential. I could never quantify in dollars or quantify in time what they have given back to me in my life. It's incredible. And Greenville has this community, just to bring it full circle, Atlanta, you were missing community. There is that here. It is a little... It can be hard to find at times because the business community here is a little siloed to where everybody's kind of in their lane and they're just operating, but there is a select few where they realize that collaboration and relationships are the key to success, and when those people embrace it and you're a part of that, it is pretty incredible what comes back around.
Oh, absolutely. No, I think it's still here. I think that people are wary of folks that are networking for the sake of networking.
Yeah.
And honest to God, that was not in any of our minds. And I look back, and that group in particular, but so many other like peripheral groups too. I'm not a networker. I don't intentionally do that. I in fact shunned it most of my life, which I don't think is the right thing to do at all. That was short-sighted and stupid of me, and maybe lazy. But it really was just just phenomenal people that I respected, and that you just helped through life, not through business, but just through life in whatever way was necessary. And I remember when we were all young when we started, but then as we got older, we're like, man, look at the proportion of us that are business owners.
Yeah.
It's like, man, there's some power in this. This is incredible.
Yeah.
But we never did it for that reason, or take advantage of that, or harness that for any particular. And we probably should a little bit more, but it was just again lucky and a God thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we were put together for a reason. We've done a lot of good. I mean, we've supported each other. We've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for really, really good causes, and so it's been a blessing to this community.
Yeah.
We've tried to give back the best we can. We all should. We've been really blessed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I've gotten off track here, but
So I want to switch gear. I gotta know, the car side of things. What was your first car and your fondest memory inside of that car?
Man, I think probably going to disappoint you on this. I am not a car guy. I'm like, all my friends, they can see like who somebody is half a mile away, and I'm like, I have no idea what car that guy drives. I just don't know. But I do have, I had a pretty cool first car. It was always hand-me-downs from my sister, but first car that I drove in high school was a Camaro. I don't even know what kind, but it was a red Camaro. And it was cool back in the
And we're in a red Camaro. Like, what a weird coincidence.
I didn't even know this was a Camaro.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, wow, okay. How about that?
What a weird,
full
bright red
circle.
Camaro. That's cool.
This thing probably goes faster than mine. Mine did not go all that fast. But I would chase that demon. And I remember my favorite memory was, we didn't live in Atlanta. We lived in the suburbs like most people do. We lived in Roswell. In my high school, I went to Marist High School in downtown Atlanta, and nobody really came from Roswell. I mean, I was one of the few who was out in the sticks, and we couldn't afford to live in the area or around the school. But so I had like a pretty good ride into school, and I just remember after football games, football was my main sport, and we'd get something to eat after the game, and you'd be on a high. I mean, we had a phenomenal football team always, and you'd be on such a high. And I'd be coming down 400 out of Atlanta to Roswell at 1 o'clock in the morning or something, and there was nobody on the roads back then. It was me and just darkness at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'd just get that thing going as fast as I could, which I don't know how fast it was, but probably nothing crazy. But that was a great memory.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, it's so funny that it rounds out with a red Camaro, because, I've owned a lot of red Camaros, this being one of them.
How about that?
I grew up a huge Chevy guy and in a race car family, so it's just, this is my thing. But you laugh
funny.
like it's always, I love hearing about people's first cars, even if it's not something super cool or unique or anything like that, but it's just taking somebody back to their childhood and the things that get drawn out of that conversation of, just that memory of you going back and driving as fast as you could after football games. Like, that's, there's something to that,
memory.
right?
Yeah.
So as we round out, if you had to give some sort of guiding principle, a one-word phrase, or anything like that to a young entrepreneur who is wanting to start something and is maybe fearful to take that step, what would you tell them in that circumstance?
I think you've got to be really honest with yourself and self-aware. I think everybody, I find it in young people more and more and more, fewer and fewer people want to have a long career working for somebody. Everybody thinks that they want to work for themselves. And I think you got to be really honest with yourself. If that's what you want to do, you better show the ability to be unbelievably resilient and have the ability to grind things out. I, in a lot of ways, am not the perfect candidate to be an entrepreneur because I like things to be a certain way. I like things to be perfect, and that is not achievable as an entrepreneur. So you better be able to just kind of continue to grind, continue to be resilient, continue to just keep getting back up over and over and over again, and learning and trying to get better. Wish I had a more I mean, that's the most honest answer that I can give.
Nope, it's good. I don't want an unhonest answer. Failures.
It ain't for the faint of heart.
No, absolutely not.
But it is so unbelievably rewarding to be able to say that you've had an impact on a lot of people's lives and the ability to employ people. I love what it does for what it's shown my kids as well. Just what it takes to do something hard, and the sacrifice that goes into that. I would also say that for me, it was always a family decision, and I think that's another piece of advice I would give is it's not just about you; it's about how's this going to affect your orbit. And for me, family is number one, and it always has been. And so, making sure that that's aligned with the sacrifices that are coming is really, really important, because I hear more and more and more about balance in life and whatnot. Of course, we all want that. We all do, and that should be a goal for sure. And you need to have your priorities of what it is. And for me, it's faith, family, and then business. But you don't always get to have balance in your life. That's just not always possible. And so if that throws you, and if that's going to be a game stopper for you, you need to ask yourself some hard questions.
Failure is feedback. Like it's the ultimate feedback. Why did I fail? What went wrong here? How do I get better? It's like in the coaching world, we talk about incremental gains all the time. Like, how do we find, generally, like in a business like yours, you're not finding a 30 or 40%, profitability growth with one single thing. It's usually multiple things, small wins that net you a very large gain. So we talk about incremental gains, so you start a business and you're just going to have to know, first of all, nothing, because the business is going to teach you everything that you need to know. It
sure does, yeah.
But number two is it's just incremental gains. If you woke up every day and you just said, I'm going to be 1% better today. I'm going to push the ball forward just an inch every single day. If you do that and you have that mentality, you don't allow failure to push the ball back at you. That's the key. And then eventually you're pushing it more than an inch. It's a couple inches a day, and then it's 10 inches. And then all of a sudden you're pushing it a mile a day. And this flywheel approach, you start to gain this momentum to where all of a sudden you look back and you're like, man, over 13 years, I have opened 18 locations. I'm sure 30, 50, 100 are on the horizon for you, and you can see that vision. But you don't get there without small incremental wins over and over and over again, and not allowing circumstances to dictate the outcome. That is the key.
I appreciate that message, because you're always in the grind as an entrepreneur. There's always challenges, and when you're growing something and scaling something, it really, it feels like it's always a startup business. So I appreciate that reminder
Yeah.
myself.
You're starting up a business every time you open a location.
That's
At
right.
the end of the day, like you
That's
have the
it.
model, it's great, but those are startups every single time. And that's the complication in the franchise world is everyone's a startup. And when the owner starts to pull back from that startup mentality, it's when the quality gets lost. You and I talked about Chick-fil-A
right.
off camera, but it's, I don't know if they have a licensing thing. I don't know if we're going to get deleted off of YouTube for using them as an example, but that owner and that family had a vision of how they wanted it run. And to this day, you go to a Chick-fil-A, it doesn't matter if it's in Wichita, Kansas, Greenville, South Carolina, or Stockton, California, you're going to get the same experience. They're going to say the same things. They're all closed on Sunday. Like they have said, every one of these is a startup and we're going to run it the same way every single time over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that consistent input has created a consistent output for them. And that's the franchise game, man. Consistent input creates a consistent output.
That's it. Yep.
So,
well said.
dude, this was great. I loved it.
Well, thank you.
This is a long time
I
coming.
know it was a long story, but so thanks for bearing with me. But
That's great.
But yeah, I appreciate you letting me share.
A story is a story, whether it's long or short. The value and the impact that it has is not dictated by the time it takes to tell it. But I will ask you one last question now that I'm thinking about it. So I asked Chris, I said, who's the next person that I should have on the podcast? And he said you. So I'm going to ask you the same. Who's the next person you think would be a fun, drive around interview?
Oh man, I got one for you.
Okay.
You want it now?
Yeah.
My friend Joe Thompson at Mad World.
Okay.
He is.
Oh,
He's the man. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
What a business. What a business. What a guy.
Yeah. Okay. So Joe, if you're
Joseph,
watching this, I'm coming after you. I got
Okay.
a marketing lady. She'll be on top of it.
Okay.
So
Great.
she'll find a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this was great. I appreciate you. The first time I met you, I knew you had a great story. You told me a little bit about it, and I just felt like that deserved an opportunity to tell it to a broader audience, people who might not know, who can't go to the website and look it up and get all the details. Now you have it. The
Thanks,
Sully
man.
story.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, you